and the description is in this video for the Just Giving page for Standard 442 for raising funds for the NHS. I have got another guest lined up right now. He lives in Rochdale, but he is a Spurs fan, which is fair play to the lad. I'm just gonna add him through now. Hey Matt, how you doing, pal?
Hi Dan, good mate, you?
Yeah, not bad, pal. How's your family? All right, good with this coronavirus thing.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I mean we're lucky really. We've got the weather, haven't we? So we're all on top of each other in the house. So yeah, we're doing all right, enjoying the sun. So yeah, trying to enjoy life as normal as possible at the minute.
Yeah. I've just seen Paul, and he looks like he's just been caked in fake tan. but he assures me that he's been sunbathing in the garden. So
yeah, all right, we believe you, Paul. We believe you.
I've had a lot of technical issues doing these streams last couple of hours. I don't know if you've seen, but it's been a bit of a nightmare. Right, yeah, good. Yeah, so Spurs. What's your thoughts on the current lockdown situation? Where to start with Spurs?
Yeah. To be honest, it's probably the best thing that could have happened to us. Have a bit of a break from Tottenham for a bit. Let our minds become sane again. It was a weird one because obviously the last few seasons have been the best in my lifetime by an absolute mile. Obviously getting to the Champions League final, we've had a couple of seasons where we should have arguably won the league. Obviously the Leicester year, don't really want to talk about, and then our last season at White Hart Lane, we went unbeaten at home. We were brilliant and just missed out to Chelsea. Obviously Pochettino's gone now. We're in the new ground, which is amazing, but I find myself still just thinking about White Hart Lane a lot. It's very different. Obviously, it's in the same place, so you still kind of have the same match day experience in terms of your routine, where you're going and things like that, where you're drinking. But yeah, it's find yourself wanting for the good old days that were only 3 or 4 years ago. So it's weird. It's an odd time. It's a really confusing time to be a Tottenham fan, I think, because obviously down the years we've not had it so easy, and we've had some of these glory years now, but still not won anything. So it's weird. Yeah, it's strange.
So how is the new stadium? Obviously, I've not been myself yet, but
I first went down when we played during the Champions League quarter final last season.
Yeah.
I had to get that in there.
Yeah, go on.
that was only our second game there. We played our first game there was we played Palace in the league. That was a Tuesday or a Wednesday night. Won 1-0, and then the following Tuesday or Wednesday we played during the first leg, and I went down for that, and it was just like the atmosphere was absolutely incredible. Obviously, it was a massive night. It was a brand new stadium. It was a second ever game there, the first Champions League game.
Yeah.
Helped that we won, obviously. But yeah, I was in my season tickets actually in the South Stand, which is the 17,000 single tier, and the noise just like reverberated around there. It was just incredible. It's like nothing I've experienced before. But it's an odd feel sort of around the ground when you're in the concourse and stuff. It's got a very airport terminal feel to it. You know, all it's bright open spaces, and you've got like the shopping experience or whatever. So it's obviously it's nice. It's state of the art. It's like nothing else, but it still leaves you wanting White Hart Lane back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's. I suppose sometimes change is good, but obviously, you always hark back to the good old days of White Hart Lane. So yeah, I'm sure over time, people in Tottenham will would appreciate the stadium. I mean, I'm sure you do appreciate the new stadium anyway, but I understand
Yeah,
I understand the religious White Hart Lane, because obviously I had the same thing with Main Road when we moved to
of course.
Eastland. So I was a season ticket holder in the Kipak, so
Yeah,
it was a bit of a change, because obviously the bright lights and the open space, and you just think, oh, what's going on here? Like,
yeah.
I think you sign Aguero and everything's good. You know what I mean? So
Well, there you go. Yeah, it's all right for you, isn't it? Because you'll actually spend some of that dodgy money you've got. But
yeah.
yeah.
What's your thoughts on getting rid of Pochettino and getting old Jose through the door?
it, Again, it was strange. Is what I mean. It's such a confusing time to be a Tottenham fan. It's just obviously when we first did it, I was sat in bed and I got a notification on my phone from the Spurs app, and it just said club statement, and straight away I knew what it was, and my heart just sank.
Oh,
And I was
Jesus.
reading it, and it was saying obviously we've parted company with Pochettino and stuff like that, and I was just angry because I think my first thought was obviously we were all frustrated with the way things were going, but if there was anybody who deserved the chance to turn it around, it was Pochettino.
Mm.
We'd
Especially when
be
he got you to the
absolutely
Champions League
nowhere.
final.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, we'd be nowhere near where we are now if it wasn't for him. In terms of the team that he built, obviously unforgivable from a supporter standpoint when it comes to the board for not investing when we had those couple of seasons where we were right up there. It was probably one or two players away from going on and winning titles, and now all of a sudden we're 4 or 5 years down the line. It's the same squad of players. They're all aging. There's a few have moved on. Obviously, you've had Kyle Walker move on, and Dembele has moved on. Things like that. But it's so. First of all, it was just gutting, and then I woke up in the morning to the Mourinho news, and again I was just angry. But I think it took me around 12 hours to come round to the idea. I think as soon as I saw it, I sort of as a joke, I went on Facebook and posted my season ticket for sale. That was my reaction. That was my reaction to the Mourinho news.
Oh, Jesus.
And then yeah, about 12 hours later, I was like, no, it's all right. I've come round to it because talk's a talk, doesn't he? You know, he had his first press conference and
Oh,
it was all
yeah.
exciting, and you saw videos of him hugging the players in training, and I thought, oh yeah, brilliant. And then we battered. Well, I say we battered West Ham in his first game. We went away to West Ham. We were 3-0 up in no time. Still managed to nearly balls it up and lose, but those first few games we were scoring for fun, and Ali was back to his absolute best. And it was exciting to watch. And then all of a sudden, I can't really pinpoint when it happened, but it just suddenly got very, very Mourinho.
Yeah. I mean, it was weird because, like, obviously he waved his magic wand, and Dele Alli was just a different player. I mean, it was just
Yeah, he was unplayable.
I was like, where the fuck's this come from? Like,
Yeah,
and then obviously, the results came with, which was good news for you guys. And then I think it all went a bit south when Harry Kane got injured. When he got injured, that was it. The rudder had gone from the boat, and it was just cannons were just firing everywhere, and you just didn't know where to shoot. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, and we
um,
didn't obviously we'd let Llorente go
mm,
in the summer. He wasn't a massively popular player with a lot of Tottenham fans, but he did a job. I mean, when Kane got injured in that
yeah,
first leg against you last season,
yeah,
Llorente scored what went on to be the winner in the second leg. So it's like
yeah,
at least we had a plan B. It wasn't the best
yeah,
plan B in the world, but it was a plan B.
yeah,
And we don't have that now when Kane's out. Yeah, you try
yeah,
Lucas up there, but he's not got the physicality.
yeah,
You try Son up there, but then that takes away from where he's at his best.
yeah,
So again, I think the book has to stop with the board and not investing in the right areas. Pochettino never got what he wanted until it was too late. Obviously, we signed Ndombele. That's not quite gone to plan.
mm,
Lo Celso's been a revelation for us. effectively replaced Ericsson. He's probably got a little bit of a way to go until he gets to that peak of where Ericsson was 3 or 4 years ago. But and then you bring in Mourinho, and it's obvious that the board have made promises to him, because somebody like that isn't going to take a job like Tottenham without having assurances and saying, yeah, you'll be there. But I think that leave, I was probably thinking, oh, brilliant, we've had all this coronavirus, I'm going to have an excuse now to not spend any money again. So it's probably the best thing that could have happened to him. He can't be blamed. He said, oh, well, it's nothing to do with me. The economy's gone down the pan. It is what it is. But so it's going to be probably another frustrating couple of years.
I've got a comment from the people watching. M says, who were you shouting for when Spurs played Rochdale in the Cup? Whose end did you sit in?
I was in the Tottenham end, actually. It was that was strange. It was the first time I'd ever been in the away end at Rochdale. Obviously, growing up, I had Rochdale season tickets and went there because my dad had never taken me to Tottenham, because obviously it's a day a day out in London. So my dad took me to Dale instead, as you would like local team. So I've always loved Rochdale, and then as soon as I got to the age where I went down there on my own and started making mates, I started going down there. So yeah, it was actually, because obviously I've waited my entire life for Tottenham to play Rochdale, and then obviously we drew, so it happened twice in 2 weeks. It was unbelievable. But yeah, both times I was in the away end at Dale, and then I went down to Wembley and I was in home end. So yeah, that well and truly showed where my allegiances were at. Yeah, he's more a Dale fan. He grows increasingly frustrated with Tottenham. But yeah, the reason I'm a Spurs fan is because my dad, he brought me up that way. So yeah, but he was in the Rochdale end for both those games, so that tells you where he's at as well. Yeah.
I was going to say, as a Spurs fan growing up, I bet you saw some players at the line, didn't
you? Yeah, I mean, he went down. He didn't get down as much as he'd like to, because he was quite poor growing up and lived in Bacup. But when he got into sort of his 20s and his 30s, so we're talking like 70s and 80s, he worked in London quite a bit, so he got down there. And yeah, I think he said his first game down there was a derby against Arsenal, and we won. But I always cursed him for never taking me down there. But yeah, he's obviously he was born in the mid-50s, and we won the double in 61. So he was obviously just a glory hunter, and I've not had that privilege because we've won one League Cup in my lifetime. So yeah, nice one, Dad. But, yeah.
We're doing a feature on the channel in a couple of weeks' time. We obviously, the Premier League are doing a Hall of Fame. Now we're at Stand Up 442. We're trying to sort of give everyone a fair shot at the Hall of Fame. So we're saying every single team that's ever played in the Premier League, and that's only 48 teams, would you believe? We're picking 2 players from each of those teams to go in their Hall of Fame. So for Spurs, who would you pick for the Hall of Fame?
In the Premier League area?
In the Premier League area.
Harry Kane, obviously.
And straight away, Harry Kane.
Probably have to go with. Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, even if he was to leave us in the next year or two, which I can see has been a real possibility. Obviously, he came out. He was, I don't know if you saw, he was speaking to Jamie Redknapp the other week, and he said, "Oh, I'm an ambitious player. I want to win things." And obviously, he loves Tottenham. But it was like with Sheringham, he never wanted to leave Tottenham, but went and won the treble at United, came back to Tottenham. So it's one of them. You can't blame him on a personal level. It's just the way it's the way players leave sometimes. But if I don't think anyone could blame Harry Kane. But yeah, definitely Harry Kane. And I'd have said Ledley King, just an absolute colossus. Just had everything, and it was such a shame that I say he had everything, but a decent set of knees. I think if he did have a decent set of knees, he'd be talked about as one of England's greatest ever centre halves. I mean, the guy was just on another level, and the pace he had and his intelligence and his leadership on the pitch it was just unbelievable. And I think he's criminally underrated by non-Tottenham fans because they didn't see what we saw every week, and obviously the injuries and stuff that he struggled with. He never trained, and he played 2 games a week without training, and he was still the best player on the pitch. So, and obviously he was the captain when we won our solitary League Cup. So, yeah, got to go with Ledley.
I get where you're coming from for Ledley King. I understand that. But then obviously there's players you're leaving out, like, you know, Klinsmann, Defoe, Robbie Keane.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's
massive players.
Yeah, I mean, you've had Spurs have always been a frustration of mine because obviously you've had great players over the years, but you just seem to like as you're doing now, not building on your success of previous seasons. You know, I mean, as soon as you got to the final of the Champions League and obviously second in the league, I was thinking they're onto something here, and obviously Harry Kane's banging them in, and you're in danger of losing Harry Kane now, and it's just I just don't understand it
because of lack of ambition. Like you say with some of the players we've had down there, like Ginola and Modric and Bale and Klinsmann and people like that, and they set the world alight for a couple of years, but you know they're destined to leave because it's like Van der Vaart. Oh my God, Rafael Van der Vaart is just he's easily, comfortably in my top 3 with and King. Just for he just got it as well. Obviously, he was an unbelievably talented player, but he got it. And he hated Arsenal so much. He scored so many goals in so many derbies, and he was fined numerous times for celebrations. So as Arsenal fans and stuff like that, he just. There's sometimes you get players who come in and they just get it, and it just clicks straight away. And that was the case with Van der Vaart. I think obviously I was very young when Klinsmann was at Tottenham, but I think he was the same as well. But obviously he got his dream move to Bayern Munich. Couldn't really turn that down. Came back on loan, but when you look at players like that, yeah, they have a couple of electrifying seasons. But the reason I say Harry Kane is just obviously it helps his Tottenham boy, consistency that he's shown, and the team that we have built around him, albeit they've been nearly teams. I think he's just been the key component for 5 or 6 years now. It'd be very, very, very difficult to leave him out because it's who you replace him with. It'd be somebody like Van der Vaart, who again, an amazing couple of years, but it's a couple of years. And like Berbatov, obviously Keane left and came back. Defoe did the same. Obviously they're still legends, but yeah, I can't look past Harry Kane at the minute.
Would you replace Mourinho in a heartbeat? I'm assuming you would.
I'm gonna say yeah, because you say people say, "Oh, who are you going to replace him with?" But it can't get any worse. I was a big Poch man.
Yeah, Poch back.
Yeah. Simple answer. Yeah.
So obviously with the current plight of Tottenham at the minute, you're on a massive seesaw, and then we all get the news that Newcastle are getting bought by multi-billionaire owners.
Yeah,
another big fish to the pond. Obviously, Tottenham are pushing for the top 4 and all the rest of it, and they come along and could spoil the party. What's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt.
I mean,
sorry, Matt. I've just had a comment from Harry Kane off to Newcastle. I was straight on point there.
I mean, if they're going to show ambition, Harry, go and do it, mate. All the best to you. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. Like I said before, the book has to stop with the board, and if they're not ambitious enough to keep, arguably, he's in the top 3, top 5 best players we've ever had. Then, I mean, what can you do? But yeah, on the subject of Newcastle, obviously it's a funny one because it's looking like it is going to go ahead, but obviously there's question marks over the Saudis' human rights record, and I know they've done I read earlier they've done a poll with the Newcastle United Supporters Trust of about 4,000 of them, and it was like 99.6% were like, yes, do it, we don't care. Which obviously they're just, well, yeah, exactly. They're desperate for any sort of success, and to have Mike Ashley, I despise him. But yeah, it'd be an interesting one. Obviously, in recent years, you've had City do the same and have unprecedented success, and you could argue Chelsea as well. Yeah, they were probably a top 6 side, but until Abramovich came in, they were, you know, they made up the numbers. They had some very, very good players down the years and won the odd pot, but they weren't sort of the club that they are now. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, Chelsea wouldn't have signed any of those players if they didn't have the backing. You know what I mean? So
no.
I suppose as one of the earlier people who came on before, Craig, money talks. You know what I mean? So it's it's the way of the world, I suppose. But again, Newcastle are a massive definition of a sleeping giant because the fans up there are absolutely crazy.
I mean, they've got the infrastructure, haven't they? They've got one of the biggest stadiums in the country, and like you said, they've got the fan base. It's a massive city. I mean, I've got a few mates who were Sunderland supporters, and they won't thank me, but when you look at where Sunderland are now, Newcastle are just going to absolutely dwarf them, aren't they? It's I don't really buy into the myth that they've got these amazing fans. I think that they're just loudmouths, and they like to have a moan and a whinge. And obviously, there's a fair few of them, but yeah, like I said, they've got the infrastructure there to be a massive success. Obviously, they had the teams in the 90s when Keegan was in charge, and they were narrowly missing out on titles, a la Tottenham of the last few years. And then it's looking like they'll finally get what a lot of their fans feel they deserve. Whether you can truly say that or not, I don't know. But
it's a bit of a shit one, isn't it? Because
I know if it was me,
go on.
in 15, 20 years time, saying, "Oh, we had the nearly years," I wouldn't be turning my nose up at that amount of money. So best of luck to him, I guess. But we'll see.
It's a bit of a shit one for Steve Bruce because obviously he's just got in there as obviously he's a Geordie as well, isn't he? So it's a bit of a shit one for him.
Yeah. I'm a massive Steve Bruce fan as well. I love the bloke. Obviously, he's a bit of a parody of himself at times. I just think he's just hilarious. I think if there's one man I could choose to go and have a pint with, it'd be Steve Bruce, 7 days a week. I think he's brilliant. He's funny as fuck. But
yeah. Transfer window.
Get him in at Spurs. Get Bruce in at Spurs.
Get Bruce in at Spurs.
We'll do
that.
Bruce in. Jose out, Bruce in. Let's have it.
Hashtag save the Bruce. Yeah.
Man.
With the transfer window coming up, any signings you'd consider? Anybody you'd like through the door?
How much time have you got? I mean,
I've got 8 on our sheet, mate. So just carry.
No, I mean there's places that it's been glaring obvious we've needed to strengthen now for a few years. Both fullback positions were lacking. Obviously, a backup striker, but it's difficult there because you're either going to have to get somebody in with the ego to believe that they're going to keep Harry Kane out of the team, or somebody who's going to be happy to come and play second fiddle, or somebody who's going to get a promise that, yeah, we're going to play two up front. So it's a difficult one. But I guess, again, it's putting your money where your mouth is, isn't it? Which I can't see happening. Obviously, the Ndombele signing hasn't worked out yet. I mean, technically, he's unbelievable. One of the best, even just from glimpses, he's one of the technically the best players I've ever seen at Tottenham. Obviously, he can't run for shit. He's not fit in the slightest, which is a shame. But obviously, there's been talks of Barcelona in for him, offering us a couple of players for a swap deal. But yeah, I think the defence is the main one. Who was it? It was Nelson Semedo, who's a right back, which obviously we'll be looking to strengthen. Samuel Umtiti, which again he's another one who's not really hit the heights he should have done. Again, I think he struggled with fitness and injuries, so it's a risk you take. But I think Ndombele, he's still 22, 23. And you can see it there. He's got the ability. It's just getting somebody to pull that out of him. So I think I'd be very, very hesitant to let him go this soon. So hopefully we keep hold. He sorts himself out. And yeah, I think I'd probably look to get a goalkeeper in as well. My number one choice would have been Alex Nubel at Schalke. So I watched Schalke as well. So they're my sort of foreign team. And he would have been the number one choice for me. He's 21, 22-year-old. But it looks like he's signed pre-contract terms at Bayern Munich now, as they do. He's done the same as Neuer did from Schalke to Bayern. So yeah, but I think a goalkeeper, couple of full-backs, probably a centre half because Vertonghen is looking like he's finished, and a backup striker. So yeah, he needs to get his wallet out. But I don't think transfer fees are going to be anywhere near what we've seen after all this. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. But like I say, I think it'd be a perfect excuse for Levy to not spend any money. So I'm not expecting anything at all.
What's your thoughts on the Vertonghen Alderweireld contract situation?
Well, obviously Alderweireld signed not long after Mourinho came in, which I was delighted about. And
it took him a long time though.
Yeah, I think when you see stuff like that, it almost makes you wonder: had Poch lost the dressing room? And because as soon as Mourinho came in, that was it. He signed pretty much straight away. Obviously, Vertonghen's not done the same, but I think Jan Vertonghen is another one who is probably underappreciated outside of the Tottenham circle. He's been arguably our most consistent player, probably for 6 or 7 years, until probably the last year or so, when you can see he's lost that yard, and he seems a bit of a liability at times, which is a shame because he's been a great servant. But I wouldn't be too disappointed now to see Vertonghen go, and I wouldn't really blame him either. So,
interesting times, eh? Right, okay, no problem. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having us.
No worries. If you've got anything to say to the viewers in regards to COVID-19, the floor is now yours.
I'll probably just echo what everybody's saying. You know, keep your distance and keep your hygiene to the best levels possible, and don't do anything daft. We're so lucky now. We've got this weather, so we can get out in the open spaces and just. I think the best piece of advice I've heard throughout it all was probably try and act as much as possible as though you've got the virus, and you're trying to avoid giving it to other people. Because you never know. You know, the incubation period is so long on it. You could have it without knowing. So I think probably just bear that in mind, and obviously look after yourselves and try and be as healthy as possible and keep your immune system at its top level. And yeah, just look after yourselves.
All right. Again, everybody, link in the description for the Just Giving page. Just Giving /funding /standard 442. Matt, good to speak to you, Val. Keep safe. Good luck for the rest of the season if we do see any football left.
Yeah.
And enjoy Mourinho ball.
Yeah, nice one, mate.
Right, pal. Catch you later.